Greetings from Rubha Hunish, which is the most northernmost point of the Trotnish Peninsula and Skye. Stupendous cliffs, great big peninsula sticking out, and the only way to get down to it is via this precarious, well-worn, slippery, rocky chute, which there's steps essentially, but well-worn, so I'm going to put you away, use my hands and take my time. Looking at it from this angle, it seems improbable that there's a way down there because it's so worn smooth, but that's a difficult bit over with. So now just enjoy the path down. Today it's actually turned out to be quite a nice day for pottering about on the coast. Forecast was, just a couple of days ago, the forecast was really bad. Just rain day and night. The Met Office forecast for the whole week before I came away, when I looked at it on Friday, was just, it was a depressing thing to behold. But as is always the case, when you go up into hills or onto the coast, you never really know what you're going to get, and there's all kinds of funny little microclimates, places that are in the lee of hills or peninsulas. They sometimes don't get as much rain as elsewhere does, so it's quite easy to sort of look out of your window somewhere like this, and this part of Skye, or anywhere on the west coast really, and think, oh, it's chucking it down, I'm not going to go out. More often than not, you can go around the headland to the next place and you'll find that actually the sun might be shining, so it's always worth venturing out, which is what I've done today. But funnily enough, even with that insight, the forecast was unanimously so bad across all the weather forecasting websites that I visit before I go away somewhere, that I really didn't expect to even see sunshine this week. So get just sort of hints of blue sky, and to actually feel that it was sunny enough that I had to put sun cream on, well, that's not what I expected this week. The tide's evidently out. It looks like the sea does come up here. It's funny to see all this, I don't know if is it seaweed or is it kelp? It's funny to see it sort of cast up here all in one pile, or one type. Evidently, see, I can hear it actually, I can hear a distinctive low rumbling churning noise all the way down there in that gap. Yeah, it's probably quite a sight when the tide's coming in and the sea's churning up this hole. You can see all the rocks are very worn, smooth throughout this whole channel. Lovely smooth stuff here. I'm not usually one for beach combing, but there's all kinds of, is that sheep jaw? I'm assuming, probably. Actually, I've got no idea. I'm not good with bone identification. It's a really peculiar channel here, natural channel. Wow, look at that! But that's quite an unusual feature. I can't recall ever seeing anything quite as, I can't remember seeing anything like this really. That's remarkable. Wonderful noise. Wonderful place to be. The kind of place that you're not going to find really unless you sort of go exploring around a coastline like this and just go out looking for what's there. It's funny, you sort of think of the Isle of Skye from a hill walking context, and you instantly think of the Coolin, or the Trotnish Peninsula to a lesser extent. But this kind of place just is a kind of place I wouldn't have come to 10 years ago. At that time I was singularly blinkered, focusing on climbing Munros, so I would never have come up to this end of Skye, which is just, it's insane. Happily I've woken up from that obsession, thank God, such I can now appreciate everything that this country has to offer, rather than everything that's just over 3,000 feet. but coastline always gives you a sort of a bad weather alternative. Not that the weather's always good on the coast, of course, but if it's really atrocious in the hills, it can be similarly windy on the coast. But you can find places like this that are quite sheltered, and it's nice just to potter about, just seeing what you find. You never know what you might find. What I'm hoping, what I always hope actually going around places like this, is that I'll see that a sea eagle might go drifting past, or you might see an otter, or you might see, I don't know, anything. But the only way you'll see these things is by actually putting yourself where they are, so on the coast. And so if you complain that you don't see sea eagles, and you complain that you don't see otters and things, if you don't put yourself in these places, if you don't actually go walking around the coast, you're never going to see them. So you have to put yourself where they are. Here over the edge. Ooh. And that is a shag, which of course many people find endlessly amusing as a name for a bird, but there you are. The distinctive little quiff on its head. Well, I can see something out there. There's something bobbing about in the water. What's that? We have a seal. Super. Oh, show yourself again. I've only just seen you. There he is. He or she. Nice view back now where I came down, which is down this cleft here, all down these rocks. And you can see at the top of the cliffs here, little building, little wooden shack. It's an old lookout station which is now owned by, or at least it's maintained by the Mountain Bothies Association. Not that there's only mountains in this part of the world really, but they maintain these shelters in wild places so that people can seek refuge or just come and spend the night and spend time out in the wilds. And that particular one, right on the cliff top, has to be one of the best located you could possibly imagine. This whole area on the northwest coast is a mecca in summer for dolphin watching, porpoise watching, whale watching, basking sharks as well. One of the best places in the world to see basking sharks off the west coast of Scotland. And that place up there, by all accounts, you can sit there and watch things sailing up the channel. Cetaceans, whales, dolphins, porpoises sailing up the channel. I am only ever here in winter. I'm only ever up in these places in the winter and the autumn months. I've never actually been up in summer. I'll have to sort that out and get up summer one time. The problem with summer is that all the places that I tend to stay, all the cottages that you rent, are just so exorbitantly expensive. I just can't afford it. So I'm only ever here in the winter months, so I never get to see all the sea life that's plying these channels. This, of course, is the Minch, the big stretch of water which separates the Inner and the Outer Hebrides, and indeed over on the horizon are the Western Isles. You can just make them out. They were clearer a wee while ago, but they're getting a bit hazy in the rain that's coming across. A notoriously rough piece of water that the ever reliable Calmac ferry plies to and fro from various places across northwest Scotland. Well, this is maybe not this exact spot. I think maybe that spot might just edge it over there, but this is essentially the most northerly point on the Isle of Skye, and it has that suitably end of the world type feel to it. You can't be standing on the edge of something. Even if there's stuff out there, it still feels like this is journey's end, road's end. This is as far north as you can go. We do like sort of focusing on the extremities of islands and places, and it has that same feeling. It has that nice end of the world feel about it. End of the world, edge of the world. Well, it's lunchtime, I think, and what better place to have lunch than up in the lookout. Weather now, stunning. The lookout. Well, there's a nice double bunk, very cosy, and as you can see, how about this for doing exactly what it says, looking out, absolutely stunning. Well, it's actually a little bit like a conservatory really, so it's actually quite hot, so I've had to remove it practically every layer, but I'm quite blown away by this view. It's incredible. What a place. Just imagine what it must be like being up here in a storm. I mean, the wind routinely gets over 100 miles an hour on the exposed parts of the west coast, so it feels sort of quite flimsy. It's all wood, but I'm sure it's seen the worst of its storms. I think it had some work done on it recently to repair some damage, but it's very, very nice. Plenty of whale and dolphin ID to help you. Actually, just reading a bit of background to this place. It was built for the Coast Guard in 1928, it says, and then in the 1970s it wasn't needed anymore, but even back then it fell into use as being a lookout post for people who were looking for birds and whales and dolphins and the like. And then the owner apparently asked the NBA whether they'd maintain it because a storm blew all the windows out in 2005 apparently. So in 2006 it was renovated as an NBA bothy, and this is what it is now. And no bothy would be complete without its bothy book, which is the record of all the people who visited, whether just for 10 minutes or whether they've stayed the night here. It's always interesting reading. You can see how changeable it is. I've cooled down quite quickly now the sun's gone in, so I've got my hat on, fleece back on, and look, it's starting to spit rain and I can't see onto the horizon anymore. So I think I'll sit and wait for that murk and wetness to pass before I head out again. Well, you can see what a turn the weather has taken. Rain on the windows, nothing but murk and darkness outside now, but just that beautiful light you get in this part of the world when shafts of sunlight are piercing through the cloud, that silvery sheen you get to everything. It's just beautiful. Not entirely delighted about heading out into it right now, but needs must. Right, all packed up. I've given the floor a sweep because my Sam just left stuff on the floor. Gave that a sweep, written in the book. Time to go. Weather's changed somewhat now.